is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That, of course, that's Accept live stuff from the new release, Restless and Live. That one is Stalingrad. And here's a guy that has been to Stalingrad and everywhere else around the world, and he's back to tell us all about it again. It is the one, the only, the legend himself, Wolf Hoffman. Wolf, how are you, man?
Fabulous. How are you?
Excellent.
How are you?
Can't complain, man. Certainly can't complain when I've got this killer new Accept Live DVD in my hands. Great stuff, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, man, it was fun working on it. I'm glad it's finally out, or it's not quite out yet. January 13th, I believe.
Sure. Now it's interesting, Wolf, for me personally as a long time back to the 80s Accept fan, and how consistent the sound live is, even with the change in singer and the pieces parts have shifted around a little bit. There's not, I don't know how to even put this. There's not a sense of, well, this could be the old band or the new band. It just fits for what you expect for Accept. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, that's a good compliment. Well, I'm glad. We're just trying to sound like Accept in whether we record a new album or a live album. I mean, we have a sense of what we want to sound like and what we should sound like, and that's what we go for. And Andy Sneap helps us to get that sound, the producer.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Now, it's been several years now, almost a decade at this point, that Mark has been in the band.
Yeah, can you believe it? That long.
It's crazy. But the newness, of course, has worn off now to where you're comfortable with each other. So now that has happened, how do you look at Accept now versus the bulk of your career? The previous stuff that you had done, either with Udo or David or what?
Yeah, well, we're still in the middle of it, really. I mean, but I definitely can tell you that a lot of fans are saying, I grew up with Accept in the 80s, and I love the old classic stuff that you guys do, and I still like to listen to those, but I almost like the new era with Mark Tonillo as good or maybe even better than anything you've done in the past. And if they say that, then I'm totally happy, because we're trying to stay the same. We're only trying to get better at what we do. We're not trying to sound any different. And, with Mark, we have a singer who can do that perfectly. He can sing that old material, it fits him like a glove, and anything new we write with him also, fits right in that same style. It doesn't sound any different. And we're trying to write songs that we could have written 30 years ago, to be honest.
Sure.
Which it's not easy. It sounds easy, but it's quite hard, actually, sometimes.
Well, and the one thing that is very evident, at least to my ear, with the records that you've done, the 3 records with Mark, is that there's a sharpness to the band that I don't want to say wasn't there before, but hadn't been as prevalent as it is now. I mean, maybe it's production quality, maybe it's new energy from new guy changing the feel a little bit, maybe it's a little of all of that. But
I think it's a little of all of that, really.
Do you feel that too?
I definitely do. I think it's us being a little more aware of what we want and where we want to go. It's the fact that we have a producer like Andy Sneap who brings a certain production value and a certain sound with him, and we're highly motivated too. We really, when we got back together with Mark, we really had something to prove to the world. I think it wasn't just another we're going to do this again with same old. There was a lot of unknown territory and a lot of people that needed to be convinced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with that, did it change? Did the creative energy itself change? Because the one thing that is glaringly obvious is that you guys are cranking out music. I mean, and good music. Not, you know how it goes, man. With a lot of bands, when they're churning out a record every year and a half, usually you're getting 4 filler songs and 6 good ones. You guys have put out 30 straight killer tracks.
Well, thank you very much. We aim to please, which, sometimes you hit or miss, but, honestly, I mean, we're trying to make albums that are relevant and that mean something to us. I totally know what you're talking about when it just feels like, oh, they're going through the motions. They're just like making a record so they have another excuse to tour. We're not trying to do that. We're really trying to make albums that we believe in and that mean something 5 years from now, or 10 years or however long.
Right. Definitely. Now talk a little bit about the DVD itself, Restless and Live, and not necessarily only the DVD, but the touring that you've done as well. One thing that, that any Accept fan will know, always has known, is that you guys are known to play a lot of songs live. The DVD has, 27 or 28 songs on it. It's long sets, and they don't wane anywhere in them. They're just long fireball sets. Where do you guys find out? For me personally, I have trouble watching a TV show for 2 hours, let alone running around crazy like you guys are. Where are you finding that energy? Because I think you're a little older than me.
Maybe, yeah. If you like what you're doing, it doesn't feel like it's hard work or anything. We just, once you get up on stage, it doesn't really feel like 2 hours or whatever. I could even play even longer if it was up to me, but then sometimes you have restrictions, especially during festival season, whatever. You get 90 minutes, and actually the DVD part of the package that we're talking about on Restless and Live here, the DVD is one complete show of a festival show in Germany. It's 90 minutes front to back, complete show. And the rest of the audio CDs is just compilation. It's just songs picked from different performances all across the world, really. We recorded just about every show on our European tour in that fall, and we went to places like Russia and England and Germany and Sweden and Finland and you name it. And we just went through those whole shows and picked certain songs out of certain performances that we weren't able to play at that festival, so we just wanted to give the fans more of the songs they were always asking for, the slightly obscure, deeper cuts on the albums and stuff that we don't always play. So that's why you have a lot of material on those two audio CDs.
Sure. And the one thing that is, especially on the DVD, that's really, I guess, fitting considering where Accept is right now, is that the newer stuff, the last 3 record stuff, fits perfectly and doesn't sound, different in any way from the classic stuff. It fits perfectly next to that stuff.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, we wanted to really have that makes me proud, is really if it's on even keel with that old stuff, that classic Accept songs, that to me is what that seems to work really well, if you achieve that. If you can really say, okay, half the set is new stuff, half the set is old stuff, but you can't really tell unless you really know which is old and which is new. It could be all, from the same time period, but it's really 30 years apart.
Sure. Now, do you see the band every night, obviously, from being on stage. Do you see any sort of a difference in the presentation of the music? And I'm going to point specifically to Mark because he's the main guy for this, but, he has more love, I would imagine, for the stuff that he's helped make, versus Balls to the Wall or London Leather Boys or whatever,
Not really. No, it doesn't feel like that's never come up. It's not, we've never had this discussion where one says, oh, I want to, I don't want to sing that old stuff because I wasn't part of it. No, man.
Well, I hear you, but I mean, even you would admit if you were playing, I don't know, some Scorpions tune, you wouldn't have as much love for that song as you would something that you actually wrote on. You know what I mean?
That actually never even crossed my mind until just said that. Yeah, I guess you're right, but it's honestly never come up. It's bizarre. Well, now that you say it, it might come up.
Well, and I mean, that in a way, that's part of the gig, too, is, I'm sure he didn't join Accept only to play new songs.
No. And he has totally a lot of respect for our old stuff, too, because actually he grew up listening to it as a lot of other people did. And he actually, he knows a lot of that old stuff, too, and he loves singing it. It's never even been an old versus new kind of thing. We're always trying to have a pretty good balance, but hey man, there's a lot of fans out there who want to hear that old stuff, and we love playing it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, well, and believe me, I'm one of those guys, Wolf. Believe me.
Yeah, good.
I'm definitely not trying to shit on the new stuff or the old stuff or any of it, man. I just. Yeah.
Oh no, I know. It's just we're like I said, we're trying to have a good balance between the old and the new because really there's this new era of Accept now with a new singer that people like as much as anything we've done in the past. So man, it's an awesome thing to have achieved, and but at the same time, we'll never do an Accept show without playing, I say, Balls to the Wall or some of those classics.
Right.
We always there's certain songs we'll always have to play, no matter how long we'll keep doing this.
Sure. Now you're putting out this live compilation and the DVD. I'm assuming that is, I don't want to say a placeholder, but a keep the fans satisfied until the new record comes. Is that in the short term or 2018 or what does that look like?
No, it looks like 2017, the middle of the year. We've started the recording process already, and we're about halfway through.
Okay.
Now that this new album is going to come out, we're going to take a short break, or actually a 3 months break, and go on the road in Europe. And then we'll come right back into the studio and finish the album. So that hopefully it will be done in time for a, say, July, August release next year.
Okay, and then yet again, back on the road again, huh?
And then, of course, comes a major tour to support that new album, another touring cycle of another year or two,
Sure.
So, yeah, man. It's the fourth album in 7 or 8 years, so we're pretty good going, I think.
Oh,
and this seemed to be a perfect time to release a live album because we had toured so long for Blind for this last album for 2 years that we figured, all right, if we don't do it now, we'll never do it because fans have always wanted to get a live album, a live DVD, and here it is, the first official release live DVD in forever and ever.
Sure, and one thing that's really cool about watching it for the actual visual aspect of it is it doesn't really feel like, I don't know, like a TV show versus it really does a good job of capturing the live vibe of you guys. The same vibe that when I've stood in front of you, here in Cleveland that I've seen, that's kind of hard to explain what I'm trying to say there, but it's something you can get into instead of watch, if that makes any sense at all.
Good, yeah. Well, of course, you always want to capture the energy that the band has. You don't want it to look too slick, but at the same time, it's nice to have a big open stage and the full light and the production. So it's just it's a balance. You want to capture as much rawness as possible. At the same time, you want it to look certain production value too. And hopefully, by having good edits and good camera angles and all that, I think we achieved that. I think it sounds really good, but it doesn't sound too good and too polished, like it almost fake. Sometimes you see these live DVDs and they look like, what do you say, a TV show.
Right. Yep, exactly.
Didn't want that either. It needs to be a sort of, you want to capture the spirit of the band and,
Sure. Absolutely, man. Well, Wolf, let me ask you the one touchy one I'm going to go to, and I'm sure everybody's...
Here comes the you question, right?
Yeah, here comes the one that I'm sure you're getting every time, and
I'm not going to go there. You can try as much
as
you want. I'm not going to give you an answer.
That's fine, because I'm not going to... I don't think I'm going to the same place.
All right.
Not a secret that Udo is doing the end of Accept thing. And again, I don't want to necessarily go into Udo. What I'm curious for you for Accept is, do you feel like that kind of opens up a door or closes a door, so to speak, to stop having any confusion between the two entities?
I don't really think there's any confusion. I mean, Udo's been out of the band for 25 years now, and he just came briefly back for one little thing. But he's basically been his own boss and has done his own thing for almost longer than, or it has been longer than he was ever in Accept. So I don't think it's much confusion. And now he's doing that supposedly final tour. So that's fine. I don't have any opinion one way or another about it. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
Fair enough, man. Let me ask you one more about something that's not Accept. I wanted to ask you about the solo record that you did recently, because Cool record, different record, probably took a lot of people, myself included, off guard, you know.
Really?
Well, just not necessarily because it was creative and different, but because, again, a lot of us as fans are really wrapped up now into the churn of Accept, you know,
sure.
where you're expecting just getting hit in the head with Accept, and that clearly was something different. Was that just something that you wanted to do to kind of exercise creative demons, or what?
No, there's a long history to this album, actually. This is album number 2 for me. I've made one in the 90s, or like forever and ever ago, called just Classical. And it really was sort of a labor of love, something totally outside of Accept, wasn't supposed to compete with Accept, wasn't supposed to have anything to do with Accept. It's just totally the other side of me.
Sure.
The instrumentalists or the guitar player side of me that doesn't really have anything to do with Accept at all. So, and that was really well received back then. And this new album, Headbanger Symphony, is supposed to be a follow-up to that, where I really took it one step further and included a full-blown classical orchestra. But the concept is very similar, to where it's just instrumental music, but based on classical, really historic stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's just a lot of fun. It's a labor of love project that I just wanted to get out of my system. It was nothing more, nothing less. It's just something totally personal that I wanted to do. And if somebody likes it, fine. If they don't, I wouldn't care one way or another, because it's honestly a very selfish project that I did just because I could and because I wanted to. But I've gotten fantastic reviews. People love it.
Sure.
So who knows where it's going to go? It could go on forever. One day I made another one. Maybe one day I'll perform it live. But my main gig will always be Accept. That's for sure.
Sure. Well, definitely. But it is a definite change up for people that know Wolf Hoffman as Accept.
Right, but you see, I see no point in making a solo record that would be in any shape or form similar to Accept, because I am in Accept, and all my ideas are in Accept, and I have no unfulfilled ambitions in that genre at all, you know, or else I would just include it in Accept on the next album. But you know, if I did anything solo-wise, it better be completely different. That's what I figured.
Right, exactly.
You know, what else is the point of making a solo record?
Yep, totally agree, man. Well, Wolf, the new Accept live release, DVD and CD compilation, is called Restless and Live. It's in stores in January. And Wolf, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from the new release, maybe tell us a quick story about it. So what would you like to wrap this one up with?
Oh, wow, caught me by surprise. How about we take Teutonic Terror? Because pretty much, for me, Teutonic Terror is the track that opened up that whole new era with Mark 6 or 7 years ago when we released Blood of the Nation. That song was a video, and it was also where a lot of people thought, like, ooh, Accept is back. There's something going on here, something exciting.
Exactly. Well, Accept is definitely back, and we're going to prove it right now. This is Teutonic Terror right here on your Classic Metal Show.